Hello, thank you for joining tonight. Tonight, we're going to take a look in Matthew 22 at something that Jesus taught that we talk a lot about at Ebenezer, and it's okay. We might talk about it every week from now until Jesus comes back. It's kind of a good thing to talk about today. Matthew 22 kind of tells this story of Jesus, and this is towards the end of his earthly ministry, and he tells the parable of the marriage feast, and then the Pharisees are getting together. At this point, the Pharisees and the Sadducees are kind of playing off of each other, and they want to trap Jesus. They want to get Jesus to say something that will incriminate him. Okay, and so it's a very unusual place to be in because they can't find anything to charge him with, and yet they just want to charge him, and so they're trying to do this, and the Pharisees say, hey, is it lawful to pay your tax, to pay your income tax, your poll tax to Caesar? And Jesus said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what is God's. And that, of course, did not make them happy because they're trying to say, well, he's putting Caesar over God. Well, no, he was saying be a lawful citizen. So then the Sadducees get together and they said, they asked the question, if a man dies and he has no children, and his brother is next of kin will marry his wife and then raise up children for his brother. And now there were 7 brothers and all of them died, no child. Whose wife is she when she gets to heaven? And Jesus said, in the resurrection, they're neither marrying or being given in marriage. He said, but they're like angels in heaven. He didn't say they were angels, but he said they're heavenly beings, at that point. And so the crowd was astonished at his teaching, and Pharisees and Sadducees are getting ticked off. In verse 34 says, but one of the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees. But when the Pharisees heard, they gathered themselves together. One of them, a teacher in the law, asked him a question, testing him, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Verse 37 says that Jesus answered, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and foremost commandment. That's the way that the NAS puts it. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, he's just quoted the Shema and the Golden Rule, and I've talked a lot about that over the years. So I'm not going to focus and major on that part. But in verse 40, Jesus said, on these 2 commandments depend the whole law and prophets. Now, when he said that, I will tell you, I have friends that send me things a lot for entertainment purposes, but some of them are that they'll send me things that are conspiracy theories and rabbit holes that you can go down and things like that, and sometimes those things are fun, sometimes they give me a headache, but one of those that I've seen lately is there's this general teaching online where people say, well, Jesus came to abolish the Old Testament. And specifically, it's funny, we're in a stewardship emphasis at Ebenezer. I've seen reels where people say, well, tithing is an Old Testament thing, and Jesus came to replace that. And it's wrong of you're not a New Testament church if you preach tithing. Well, Jesus said, the law and the prophets depend on you loving God with all your heart, mind, body, soul, and strength, and when you loving your neighbor as yourself. None of that abolishes the law and prophets. It actually is what the law and prophets are built around, the idea that you're going to love God with all your heart, mind, body, soul, and strength, and love each other as much as you love yourself. And if we do those things, I believe what Jesus is saying is you're hitting at the whole heart of the law and prophets. It's easy, though, for us, it's dangerous that we will get caught up in doing things like watching Facebook reels and deciding that we're going to pull our theology from that. This past week, we talked about the spirituality of giving, and what the spirituality of giving really, what my sermon really talked about was the need for us to be a part of a church, the need for us to be involved in engaging each other in a church. And it's kind of funny, when we set all those things in place, we did not have a baptism on the calendar. And so we baptized 12, 13, 14. I don't know. Nathan baptized half of them. So I don't even know how many we baptized. And that's awesome, you know. And all that said, here's what I want you to take from this tonight. God's at work, and our job is to love God with all of our heart, mind, body, soul, and strength, and to love each other as much as we love ourselves, and to recognize that nothing has been done that would replace the law and prophets in the Old Testament, but we're still bound by that. Jesus said that several places in his ministry. The difference is, those of us that know Christ, yes, we're guilty under the law, but Christ paid the price. You know, it's not that we each have a get out of jail free card. It's that Christ paid the price for us. Hope you get that. Would love to see you this Sunday, but I just hope you have a great day, and God bless.